Welcome to week 1. Today we're going to be talking about your parenting past, both the way you have been parenting and the way you were parented as a child. But before we dive into that, I want you to get clear on your intentions here going through this course. Take out your handout titled Parenting Past. Write down, if you can right now, your answer to these 3 questions. Pause the recording if you need to, and remember there are no wrong answers. So the first one, number 1, what is your main goal for yourself within your parenting? Maybe you'd like to be more patient or have more fun. Maybe you'd like to express yourself or understand your feelings better. Your main goal for yourself within your parenting. Number 2, what is your main goal for your relationship with your children? Is it in the way you communicate, the connection you feel, better conflict resolution skills, or a deeper understanding of who they are? What's your main goal for your relationship? Number 3, what qualities would you like to see in your children when they are adults? Love, kindness, resilience, strength, a drive for adventure, or a desire to learn. Think about the qualities you want to see. Whatever your answers, these are the things you will be moving toward through this course. If it helps, write it on a sticky note and hang it up somewhere. Remind you of where you're going when you look at it every day. And now let's talk about where you've been. So who you are right now, the things you're doing, the place you're at, has been shaped by your past. Always changing and adapting, leading you to here. There are a lot of different things that can shift our direction and change our minds, and many of those are the choices that we make. So for example, you made a decision a few minutes ago to play this recording, and now here you are. But so much of what has gotten you here is subconscious, happening outside of your awareness. Choices you may not realize you made, choices that were made for you. Cognitive neuroscientists say that we are only conscious of about 5% of what is going on in our minds. So most of our decisions, actions, emotions, and the way that we behave comes from the 95% that we are not aware of. That's a whole lot of who we are that is based on something we don't even realize that our minds know. So where does that majority come from then? How does the 95% know what to do with us? Well, as we grow through childhood in the beginning, we're constantly trying to make sense of our surroundings. The things that happen to us and around us, the environment we grew up in, the way we were treated, how those around us spoke to us. We're using all this information to form our worldview, a blueprint that says, this is how life works, and this is how I fit into it all. And that blueprint is what your brain uses to get you through life. For example, say you live in one house your whole life, and everything in your house stays the same, never changes. Let's say from that you come to believe that this is what a house should look like, and these are the type of things you want in a house. This becomes your ideal vision of a home. And then you grow up, you move out, you buy a house, and you set it up the way you want to. Now, because you developed in your mind an idea of what your ideal home looks like, it may end up looking remarkably similar to the house you grew up in. And you won't even realize it because all that happens subconsciously. You may go see someone else's house and see something different and think, oh, I never thought of putting that piece of furniture in a bathroom. Now, this blueprint also determines how you deal with your emotions. Say you grew up in a family where no one talked about feelings, as if they didn't exist. You learned that feelings were bad and coped with your feelings by keeping them all stuffed up, really hardening yourself to emotion at all. Then you grow up, and suddenly the people around you want to know how you're feeling all the time. This is totally foreign to you, not in your blueprint. It's like this story, maybe you've heard a version of it before. A new bride is cooking a brisket following her mother's recipe. She cuts off the end of the roast, just like her mother always did. And her husband asks, "Why are you cutting the ends off? That's the best part." She says, "That's just how my mom always did it." So they decide to investigate. She calls her mom. "Hey mom, why do you cut the ends off the roast?" She said, "I don't know. That's just what my mom always did." So they call grandma. "Hey grandma, why do you cut the ends off the roast?" And she says, "Oh, because my roasting pan is too small to fit the whole thing." So all of us have these things that may have been passed down for generations that we do subconsciously without even realizing. Maybe the way you view money is impacted by the financial struggles of your great-grandparents. Or maybe the way you celebrate holidays is because that was the only way to get everyone together years and years ago. Some of these patterns or ways of doing things were created for a time that doesn't exist anymore, and to help with problems that aren't problems anymore. And now, it's not solving the issues it used to, but instead creating brand new issues. We grow up thinking that this is just the way things are. And then something different enters the picture. When someone questions us or we're confronted and our blueprint is brought to the surface, those are the moments where our worldview is challenged. Something new comes in, something doesn't quite fit the way you've always thought or the way you've always done things. Or you find out you're really only doing what you knew and never really thought about it. We encounter this all the time because we live in a world with different people who each have different ways of living life. Now, depending on the worldview we build, these moments of encountering differences can really shake us up. For example, if you grew up in a community where nothing good happened after dark, shops would shut down, and everyone spent their evenings at home with family and friends. It was part of the culture, the way you do things around here. Then one day you move to a new town, and you find these things that were considered bad in your community that are totally normal in this new place. It's just the way things are done here. That could be pretty shocking. And now you have a choice to make. You could expand your blueprint. "Oh, I never thought of doing it that way. What a cool idea." Or, "How funny, I've been doing it this way and now I see there's no reason to." Or even, "This way of doing things is unfamiliar to me, but I would like to make it familiar so it doesn't feel so weird and scary." Now your mind has more options to work from when making your decisions. The opposite response would be, "Oh, that's not right." Or, "Well, this is the way it's always been done." Or, "I just don't get why someone would want to do it that way." Or even, "Well, they can do it that way, but that's just not me." And that sort of response comes easily when our worldview is very rigid and doesn't allow room for change or differences. So take a second right now and think about your response to new information. Have you heard something here that you didn't know before? Or did you recently encounter a different way of doing things? Maybe even a post on social media that got you thinking or that you didn't agree with. What was your response? How did you feel about it? What did you think? It may take a minute to figure out if your reaction was mostly subconscious. But there's no judgment here. Maybe your response is a feeling of curiosity. "Tell me more about this. Help me understand. I want to learn." Maybe it feels more neutral. "Okay, it doesn't really mean anything or have any effect on me." Or like me, maybe you grew up with more of a rigid worldview, where you reacted judgmentally to anything new or different. "I thought I was right and anything else was wrong." Wherever you're at, that's okay. Right now, I just want you to put this on your radar. Try to pay more conscious attention to your reactions when presented with something new or different. Begin questioning why you do what you do. This is a great way to start bringing your blueprint to the surface, so you can really look at it to see how much of it is helping you and how much of it may be hindering you, how much you want to change and how much you want to keep. So why do you need to analyze your blueprint? Well, let's look at how your worldview plays out in your parenting. This blueprint also applies to the way you cope, the way you handle conflict, the way you solve problems, and the way you interact in relationship, the way you feel in any given moment and how you respond to those feelings. Say you're just at the end of your rope, but you're trying to leave the grocery store with your child and they refuse to get in their seat. How do you feel about this? Maybe it's no big deal, minorly irritating. Maybe you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and feel trapped. Maybe you would do just about anything to get home right now. You might threaten, if you don't get in this seat right now, you won't get any dessert tonight. You might bribe, if you get buckled up, you can play a game on my phone. Maybe you'll just sit there in the parking lot and wait until they're ready. Maybe you'll talk with your child about how you're feeling and work together toward a solution. Whatever your response is most likely coming from your subconscious mind. And different responses will teach your children different things. This means your subconscious mind is shaping your child's subconscious mind. Your blueprint is creating the blueprint for your children's minds. The thing that's going to drive 95% of their thoughts, choices, decisions, behaviors. And that's kind of a big deal. Just like the story of the roast, your children are learning how to live by watching the way you live. And when it comes to how to cook something, maybe that's not a huge deal. But when it comes to how you treat someone who's being rude to you, or what you do when you're angry, those things make a big impact. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to be calm and kind and understanding and say the right things and do the right things and be absolutely perfect all the freaking time. That's just not realistic. So take that pressure off yourself right now. Perfection is an illusion and we'll never get there. You can get to a place, though, where you feel totally comfortable in your imperfections. Even seeing your imperfections as perfection. A place where you know how to manage messing up, learning, and growing. Where you feel confident in the ways that you respond to your children. And where you love the life that you're living. Alright, so we've talked about the blueprint of your mind. The thing that's driving most of your life. Your thoughts, feelings, actions, behavior, decisions. This blueprint has been created by your history up to this point. And because this blueprint has a huge effect on your parenting and the way you are shaping your children's worldview, it's worth taking a look at. So I want you to take a few minutes right now, pause this recording, and write down your thoughts. There's a space for this in your Parenting Past handout. Do you have any questions? Anything that doesn't quite make sense? Anything you don't understand? Did you learn something? Have any realizations about yourself, your life, your kids? Is something bothering you? Do you feel excited about something? Whatever you're thinking right now, get it out without a filter. Just write it down and take as long as you need. Now that you know about your blueprint, let's find out what your blueprint says. As you grow up, your blueprint is forming rapidly. So much of what is subconscious to you right now likely came from your childhood. Making connections between the way you were raised and who you are now is another great way to bring your blueprint to the surface. So I want to do a little exercise with you. Start with a moment of disconnection between you and your child, and look for the connection to your past and see what the pattern is there. So if you're safely able to do so right now, just close your eyes or follow along with me in your Parenting Past worksheet. Now think about a response you have with your children, a frequent behavior of yours that comes up in conflict or overwhelm or frustration. Something you might even know isn't helpful, but you find yourself doing over and over. It could be yelling a lot, storming out of the room, or making your child sit in a timeout. Picture this behavior pattern of yours in your mind. Can you remember a time when your parent or caregiver showed a similar pattern of behavior? Maybe your father yelled a lot too, or maybe your mother ignored you and left you alone. Think about those moments of similar reactions. How did that make you feel? Misunderstood, insignificant, lonely, afraid, sad, surprised? How did you feel? Now, what did you think about yourself as a result of experiencing this kind of behavior from your parent or caregiver? Like you messed up, you don't matter, you're not good enough, you talk too much, there's something wrong with you, you can't get what you need. What did it cause you to think about you? How is this thought impacting your life now? Maybe you felt like you could never measure up to your parents' expectations, and now you're afraid to try new things for fear of failing. Maybe you came to believe that crying is weakness, so you get annoyed when your child cries and you can't engage with them. Whatever it is, this is a piece of your blueprint. You made sense of the way you were treated by taking on or creating a belief about yourself, the people around you, the way the world works, or what you see as right or wrong. That's how the blueprint is built. The way you interpret what happens around you and to you. And that worldview you created is where your subconscious responses to your own children come from. If you had your eyes closed, go ahead and open them now and take a deep breath. How do you feel? Discovering more of your blueprint can be exciting and relieving, or it can be scary and confusing. Whatever you're feeling, let it be what it is. In this process, you will find parts of your worldview that you love, beliefs that are serving you well and bringing you success, joy, and peace to your life. You will also find parts that are not helping you at all, things you would rather be rid of, limiting beliefs. And these are the beliefs that get in the way of us being the parents we want to be and doing what we want to do. Oftentimes, though, these beliefs can feel like absolute fact. We think, I'm just a shy person. This is the reality. That's just part of my personality. But my child needs to learn this. Because this is how they are written on your blueprint. Your mind needs these things to know how to direct you. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're stuck there forever. You can change your blueprint if you want to. And we're going to dig into that more in the next lesson. For now, I just want you to see your blueprint. Anything that comes to your mind about who you are, how life works, why you do the things you do, just write it down. Go through the exercise in this video again if you like, to make some more connections between your childhood and where you are now. You'll see a handout in your email titled Limiting Beliefs. This is a list of some common beliefs you might have in your blueprint that are holding you back. It isn't all-inclusive, so add your own as you come across them. But for your homework, look through that list and circle the ones you feel about yourself. In the next class, we will be talking more about those limiting beliefs and what you can do with them. Today, just begin to bring your blueprint to your conscious awareness. Now take a moment and thank yourself for doing this work. I'll see you in the next lesson.